Hey guys, it's Miss Muller, and today we're going to be looking at Math Day 36. In your packet, we're going to be looking at patterns in a multiplication chart. So it's page 9 in your new packet. It should say Math Day 6 at the top. And then you have your memory jogger, and there's a video for that as well. And then we're going to be looking down here at the multiplication chart. So the directions say complete the multiplication chart to the left to find the multiples of all the numbers 0 through 9. Then use the chart to help you answer the following questions. So remember, a multiplication chart works by multiplying the rows by the columns. So it doesn't matter which one you start with. You can either start with the rows on the side or the columns on the top, and you just do 0 times 0 equals 0. Now I know 0 times any of these numbers is still going to be 0. So I can fill that all the way in, because if I have 0 groups, then I'm going to have no total, and if I have 0 in each group, then it's still going to be 0. So I can go all the way down as well. Now I'm going to work my way across the chart. So now I'm going to look at the ones. So I can do 1 times 1 equals 1, 1 times 2 equals 2, 1 times 3 equals 3, 1 times 4 equals 4, 1 times 5 equals 5, 1 times 6 equals 6, 1 times 7 equals 7, 1 times 8 equals 8, and 1 times 9 equals 9. Now, if I wanted to go down instead, I could do 1 times 1 equals 1, 1 times 2 equals 2, 1 times 3 equals 3, 1 times 4 equals 4, 1 times 5 equals 5, 1 times 6 equals 6, 1 times 7 equals 7, 1 times 8 equals 8, and 1 times 9 equals 9. And so I'm going to keep going for each of the multiples until I have it all filled in. So if I do my 2's, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 5 is 10, 2 times 6 is 12, 2 times 7 is 14, 2 times 8 is 16, and then 2 times 9 is 18. And if I went down, I would fill in the same thing. So you can work your way across the multiplication table, practicing your multiplication facts to fill in all of the multiples for the numbers 0 through 9. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and give you time to fill that in. Feel free to pause on here, and then we're going to look at the questions next. All right, and we're back. I have finished my multiplication chart by filling in all my multiplication facts, and so now I can use it to help me answer any of these questions. So if I'm looking for the multiples of 2, I would look in this whole column. If I'm looking for the multiples of 3, I could look in this whole column or this whole row. So which numbers have only even multiples? So I want to look for even numbers. So those are numbers that have a pair. So if you break up the number, it would be 2 even groups. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 or 0. And then my odd numbers don't have a pair, so it'd be like 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So I'm looking for only even and only odd. So only even, we can look at the ones, and we have 1. Well, that starts with an odd number, so that's not going to be only even. Now we can look at the 2's. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. All of these are going to have pairs, so 2's are all even multiples. And then 3, 3, 6, 9. 3 and 9 are both odd, so that can't work. 4, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36. All of these numbers end in even numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8, or 0. So that would work. 5, I have 5, 10, 15. 5 is an odd number, so that can't work. 6, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54. All of these end in a 2, 4, 6, 8, or 0. So all of these are even. If you can jump onto the pattern now, I bet you can guess which other number has even multiples. That's right, it's going to be our last even number. 7 and 9 both have these odd number multiples right away, but 8 has all even multiples if I go through and check. But now I want to look for which numbers have only odd multiples. If I look at my odd numbers like 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, I see odd numbers right away. But then when I get to times 2, I have 2, 6, 10, 14, and 18. And those are all even numbers. So I see this pattern of odd, even, 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 odd, even. So the odd numbers don't just have odd multiples, they have even multiples because they're being multiplied by these even numbers. So there are none here. So then which numbers have both even and odd multiples? Well, that's going to be all of your odd numbers, because anytime an odd number is multiplied by an even number, it becomes an even number. It starts to have a pair. So that's 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. And you can go back through and check to see that we have this odd even pattern all the way through. Now it asks us, how are the multiples of 2 and 4 related? So I'm going to be looking at the multiples of 2 and 4. I'm going to look across the row because I think that's easier. And I'm going to write it on a separate sheet of paper so I can see these multiples right next to each other to see how they're related. So for my 2's, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 4, I have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, and 36. And so now I can look specifically at how these two numbers are related. So how do I get from one number to the next? So if I have 2, how do I get to 4? Well, I know that 2 plus 2 equals 4. To get from 4 to 8, I know that 4 plus 4 equals 8. 6 to 12, I know 6 plus 6 equals 12. So I notice there's this pattern. That with all of these numbers, I'm adding it to itself. When you're adding something to itself, what you're really doing is you're just having two groups of that same number, which means you're multiplying times 2. So I'm taking 2 times 2 equals 4. 4 times 2 equals 8. 6 times 2 equals 12. And that even continues, even if I check 18, I have 18 plus 18 equals 36, and that's correct. And if I were to do 18 times 2, I would still get 36 because I could break it apart into 10 times 2 is 20 plus 8 times 2 is 16. 20 plus 16 equals 36. So I see this pattern here emerging that what I have to do with my 2's is I have to multiply it times 2 to get to 4. So if I take the multiples of 2 times 2 equal the multiples of 4. So that means that the multiples of 2 doubled equal the multiples of 4. Because doubled means times 2. So now I have to look at 3 and 6 and see how they're related. I'm going to do the same thing where I write them out. So I have 3, 6, 9, 12, 6, 12, 18, 24. And let's see here what I have. 3 plus 3 equals 6. 6 plus 6 equals 12. 9 plus 9 equals 18. 12 plus 12 equals 24. I'm trying to figure out how I get from that 3 to the 6, how I get from the 6 to the 12. And I see that this same pattern is happening again. I'm taking 3 plus 3, 6 plus 6. I'm adding that same number that I started with in order to get to the next multiple. So I'm doing the same thing where I'm multiplying by 2. 6 times 2 equals 12. So I have the same pattern. And so we see here that the multiples of 3 and 6, the multiples of 3 doubled equal the multiples of 6. So now you're going to look at the multiples of 4 and 8, and you might think already that you see this same pattern emerging. So I want you to write it out and check this pattern. Then for the last two, it says, what pattern do you notice in the ones place in the multiples of 5? What pattern do you notice in the tens place in multiples of 5? So we're looking here, and if I write them all out, 5, 10, 15, oh, I start with 0, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. If I start with the ones place, I look at 0, 5, 0, 5, 0, 5, 0, 5, 0, 5. So you can see that pattern. Then if I look at the tens place, I have a 0 in the tens place here, a 0 in the tens place here, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. So I noticed that the tens place is going up by 1 every other multiple. So I have 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. And then for how can the multiples of 2 help you find the multiples of 7? 2 and 5 help you find the multiples of 7. Well, I would want to write out the multiples of 2, the multiples of 5, and the multiples of 7. So 2, 4, 6, and then 5, 10, 15, and then 7, 14, 21. So, I see this pattern emerging. How do I get from 2 and 5 to 7? Well, 2 plus 5 equals 7. 4 plus 10 equals 14. 6 plus 15 equals 21. So the multiples of 2 plus the multiples of 5 are getting me the multiples of 7. So you're going to turn these two into a rule and write down those characteristics. So I hope this helps you see patterns in the multiplication chart and that you've learned a good strategy of writing them out so you can see how they are related. So go ahead and finish this up and you'll be done with day 36. Bye.